Hi friends, once again welcome to my channel Literariness and Criticism. I am Dr. Baburaj Harisree, Faculty and Research Coordinator, Postgraduate Department of English, Yamphila Centenary College, Royal University of Bhutan. In this lecture, I will be talking about literary criticism. Let us first look at what is the difference between the words criticism and criticizing. These two are very different aspects. Criticism does not mean criticizing something, but it means judging or critiquing something or analyzing that thing, telling about that thing. Criticism is judging about the thing. There are positive and negative aspects in it. We can tell criticism is always an analysis and opinion about something, and that process is criticism. Okay guys, let me cite an example to make it very clear. When we go to a marriage party or any party, we observe things and later or that time itself we are evaluating and analyzing how it was or how it is. We say reception was wonderful, or we feel and evaluate it was not cordial, decoration is or was fantastic, food was not that tasty, not able to release the taste. It is critiquing, it is criticism. So criticism is not destructive, but it is constructive. But coming to literature, we could understand there is a symbiotic relationship between literature and criticism. It is a vast area, but my attempt here is to discuss this concept in a nutshell. What do we mean by criticism? Criticism, by definition, is the art or art of analyzing the quality of a literary or artistic work. In fact, the history of literary criticism runs parallel to the history of literature in ancient Greece. During 17th and 18th century, the critic was considered a judge who finds the faults and merits of a literary work. The word critic comes from Greek kritikos, which means able to. That is, Greek derivation of the word kritos, meaning a person who offers reasoned judgment or analysis, value judgment, interpretation or observation. From the word kritain, to separate or to decide, one who judges merits of books, plays, etc. That is the concept of the word criticism in literature or literary theory. The term criticism is derived from the Greek word kritain, which means to judge. The word kritikos, used in 4th century BC, it means a judge of literature, and thus one who is skilled in judging is known as kritikos in Greek and critics in English. Criticism is something we can avoid easily by saying nothing doing nothing and being nothing. This is the definition given by Aristotle, the father of English criticism. What is literary criticism? An interpretation of literary work or body of work that is debatable, a conversation with a written text or a conversation with a written text, an analysis and explication of literary works using literary concepts. Literary criticism asks what literature is, what it does, and what it is worth. Criticism, as Aristotle first instituted, it was meant as a standard of judging well, and the term critic in literary application is as old as Bacon's Advancement of Learning, which published in the year 1605. In English, John Dryden used the term in the modern sense in his Preface to the State of Innocence, published in the year 1677. Any formal discussion of literature, Dr. Johnson defined a critic as a person skilled in the art of judging literature, a man able to distinguish the faults and beauties of writing, and criticism as the task of determining principles to evaluate the merits of a literary composition. The term literary criticism is using in the sense of the study of works of literature with emphasis on their evaluation. Let us now discuss the definition of criticism. I mean the definition of criticism given by few great writers and thinkers. According to Walter Pater, the art of interpreting art. The critic is an interpreter between the inspired and the uninspired. This is the opinion brought by Thomas Carlyle. As interpretation and an assessment of merit of a work of art, that is also observed by Thomas Carlyle. A disinterested endeavor to learn and propagate the best that is known and thought in the world. This is the opinion given by great Victorian critic Matthew Arnott. The good critic is he who narrates the adventure of his soul among masterpieces. This is the opinion by Anatole France. Thus it became clear that criticism is the branch of study concerned with defining, classifying, interpreting and evaluating work of literature. So once again, what is criticism? It is defining, classifying, interpreting and evaluating works of literature. When literary theory has an application orientation, it becomes literary criticism. Therefore, theory and practice interact with each other. I.A. Richards, a 20th century critic, in his two major books, Principles of Literary Criticism and Practical Criticism, integrated theory and practice. Literary theory provides a framework of practice, and he was an exponent of a method called practical or applied criticism. It was a close study of literature that paid more attention to all the details of the text. The twin pillars upon which a theory of criticism must rest are an account of value and an account of communication. Next, let us explore the function of criticism. Different critical approaches are like different lenses that critics use to view and talk about art and literature. Suppose you wear a blue glass and look at the nature, the greenish nature turned to be bluish in color. Suppose you try to look through a yellowish glass, the greenish nature will appear to be yellowish. Like that, there are different literary lens like feminism, post-colonialism, structuralism, Marxism, new historicism, deconstruction. All these are different methods of criticism. All these are different lenses of criticism. These different lenses allow critics to consider works of art based on certain assumptions. Criticism can help judgments about literature and help readers appreciate and enjoy a literary work. What are the qualifications of a critic? Here we are not talking about academic qualifications. We are talking about the training and the technical skill, knowledge, including knowledge of literature in other languages, freedom from bias and prejudice, natural aptitude. These are the qualities a real critic should possess. Genius always succeeded and literature triumphed over criticism. The romantic poets and the negative critics, we knew that they were criticized by their contemporaries. They never got any form of appreciation. So sometimes the wrong criticism after ages be evaluated in a different manner too. A piece of criticism can be superior to the work that prompted it. The critical faculty is not lower than the creative. The critic was considered a disappointed teacher who can teach but cannot do. There is a saying that failed poets become the critic. It is not that critics should have great abilities, which we mentioned earlier. According to Middleton Murray, who was always radical in his views, stated, true criticism is itself an organic part of the whole activity of art. Just as art is the consciousness of life, so criticism is the consciousness of art. Marxist critics like Edmund Wilson, literary criticism ought to be a history of man's ideas and imagination in the setting of the conditions which have shaped them. So Marxist criticism is historicist as it judges all past literature in relation to its social setting and contemporary literature in relation to its political effect. There is no literature without criticism. That means literature exists in criticism. For great T.S. Eliot, literary criticism is not perceptions of literature accumulated as a mass, but structured perceptions and rational analysis of literature. For structuralist critics like Janet, literary criticism uses language to speak of language use. It is in fact a meta-literature, a literature on a literature. For deconstructionist Jacques Derrida, literary criticism is highly theoretical and is considered to be more philosophical than literature itself.